What's up, everybody? This is your boy Ken, aka MrGentleman, your host of MrGentleman Like That podcast, and this week's sponsorship is from Newsly. Newsly is a all-in-one audio super app for iOS and Android. It picks up web articles about the most trending topics on the web at any given moment and read them to you in a natural human voice. For the first time in ever on the internet, the entire web becomes listenable, all in one place. Browse articles from topic you choose, start playing, start scrolling, and start listening. You can follow any topic as you specifically as you like, from sports, science to Bitcoin, even for the Kardashians. It will find you on the latest article and you read them to you out loud. And they have podcasts as well. Explore trending podcasts from over 50 countries. Our podcast, MrGentleman Like That podcast, is on there as well. Yes, it is. Shout out to Newsly for that. I started using it as my default podcast app. Download and use Newsly for free from www.newsly.me or from the link in the description. Use the promo code MrGentleman that I will also put in the description and receive 1 month free premium subscription. So you already know, y'all, download Newsly now. Check it out. Support them, y'all. This is your boy Ken, aka MrGentleman, your host of MrGentleman Like That podcast, and enjoy the show. You are now listening to MrGentleman Lifestyle Podcast Season 6. True! Hello, everybody. This is your boy Ken, aka MrGentleman. I am 1/4 of the Premier Boy Podcast and your host of MrGentleman Lifestyle Podcast. And welcome to another new episode of MrGentleman Lifestyle Podcast. Hope all is well. And on this episode, I got my special guest. I was just on her show recently. She is a podcast host. She has a podcast show called Chronicles of a Virgo. And today we got her on the show. And we're going to talk to her about her show and many other things. And this was an amazing conversation. I can't wait for y'all to listen to this episode. So y'all already know what to do. Sit back, relax, and I'll be right back.
What's up, friends? It's your girl, Sierra Coco from The Wet Lounge, and you're listening to MrGentleman's Lifestyle Podcast.
Welcome back, everybody. Welcome back. At this time, I will be giving y'all the MrGentleman Facts quote of the day. And today's quote of the day is, claim it and it's yours. And what I mean by that is, if you want something, you just have to claim it. It is yours. You just have to manifest it and it will come true. And that is today, MrGentleman Facts quote of the day. Hello, everybody. This is your boy Ken, aka MrGentleman, and I am the host of MrGentleman Lifestyle Podcast. And this commercial break is brought to you by MrGentleman Lifestyle Podcast. On MrGentleman Lifestyle Podcast, we interview many guests about their life journey, pretty much where they come from and where they at now. Also promoting their brands or whatever they're doing at the time they come on the show. We also have the host talk about personal stories about himself and everything that he's been through. And also we have fun conversation about anything music, anything old school, relationships, wrestling, and many more. And y'all can tune in to MrGentleman Lifestyle Podcast every Sundays at 12 a.m. We are also on every Thursdays at 12 a.m. for Spin-Off Series Thursdays, where we have all of MrGentleman Lifestyle Podcast spin-off series all in one day, where we have a conversation about music podcast every first Thursday at 12 a.m. The Old School Show with myself and the Star Roddy Rod every fourth Thursday at 12 a.m. And we have Date Night Talk Podcast with myself and Miss Vanna B every second and third Thursday at 12 a.m. And y'all can tune in to MrGentleman Lifestyle Podcast on Anchor, Spotify, Apple Podcasts, iHeartRadio, Amazon Music, The Pods, and many more. Or y'all can check it out on the official website of MrGentleman Lifestyle Podcast, www.realmrgentlemanlifestylepodcast.com, www.realmrgentlemanlifestylepodcast.com, and tune in every Sundays and Thursdays at 12 a.m. for MrGentleman Lifestyle Podcast. Thank y'all for tuning in to this commercial break of MrGentleman Lifestyle Podcast. Back to your regularly scheduled program. Cheer! Hello, everybody. This is your boy Ken, aka MrGentleman. I am the host of MrGentleman Lifestyle Podcast, and this following episode may contain sensitive topics that is not suitable for my audience. So I just want to take the time to let you know that viewer discretion is advised. Thank you and enjoy this episode.
What's up, y'all? It's your favorite Virgo host, Chiquita Johnson from the Chronicles of a Virgo podcast, and you are now locked into the MrGentleman Lifestyle Podcast.
Yes, welcome back, everybody. Welcome back. At this time, I got my special guest. You know, I was just on her show recently. She is a podcast host. She got a podcast show called Chronicles of a Virgo. Don't tell nobody, but this has been one of my dream guests who I wanted on my show. So we got Miss Chiquita Johnson on the show. Chiquita, how are you doing? Welcome to MrGentleman Lifestyle Podcast.
Hey, what's up? What's up? How you doing today?
I'm doing good. And how are you doing today?
A little under the weather, you know, the allergies and stuff, but otherwise I am blessed and highly favored.
Yes, and once again, thank you for coming on my show.
Absolutely.
And thank you. You know, I've been wanting to happen since I came on your show, but now you're on my show, and yeah, there you go. So we're gonna start off with, where are you from?
I am from the lovely city of Baltimore, you know, home of the lovely football team, the Baltimore Ravens, you know, the place where you can come and you can get the best crabs and crab cakes. But yeah, I'm from Baltimore, Maryland.
Dope. I've definitely been to Baltimore, Maryland a couple of times.
Did you like it?
Yeah, I like it. It's cool. I like it. I think I went out there a long time ago with me and my father. We went to like a crab fest. Mm-hmm. Yeah, it was a long time ago, but it was cool. So it definitely was a good time going there.
I always find it interesting when people want to come here. I'm like, why? What do you want to see here? Unless you're going to like an Orioles game or a Ravens game, I'm like, what do you want to see here? I've talked to people like recently and they're like, oh, I've been to Baltimore before. I love the Inner Harbor. I'm like, it's nothing like it used to be. Like unfortunately they closed a lot of things down and they're doing a lot of renovations. So it's not like the old times.
But that's pretty dope. But how would you describe yourself with 3 words? How would you describe yourself? Say 3 words.
3 words to describe myself. I would say loyal, lovable, and dedicated.
No, those are all three dope qualities. Those are three dope qualities. I'm not even gonna lie. So, what is one talent that you have but nobody knew about?
I don't know, cause like I was trying to think about this, cause I don't like. I feel like most of my talents are not really like talents. You know, like I've played sports. I played basketball up until my second year of college. I was a point guard, small forward sometimes.
Oh, that's dope. That's dope.
Yeah, I was fast too. You know, till I had my knee injury, ended my whole basketball career. But otherwise, like talent wise, I can play football.
Oh, nice.
I can play football. I used to, like, in school, I used to play with the boys a lot. So, like, you know, a lot of females, they like the sport, but don't know how to play the sport. But I can actually play football.
That is dope. I mean, I play football too. I mean, yeah. I used to be really good at it.
So if anybody out there is listening that want to see me on the court or the field, hit me up. It's like...
definitely hit up. So what do you like to do at your own time?
My own time, I really am big on just my peace, honestly. Like, I love to work out, whether it's going to the gym or going out for like a run or something. I had been down for a few weeks, but now I'm getting back acclimated into moving my body more and stuff like that. So I definitely like to be active, like to hang out with friends sometimes, you know, go to like the movies, just anything fun. I'm weird in a way, right? Because I'll say like I'm not big on crowds, but I do like to go to like concerts and like music festivals and things like that. So it just really depends. But I think I like to be just out, you know, in these streets, you know, having fun, doing some adult fun activities. Going to the movies once in a while. You know, me and you talked about that a couple weeks ago. I'm trying to open my mind up more to different things, you know, like I want to venture off and try like hot yoga. I've been hearing about yoga and like bear and stuff. I don't know if I'm flexible enough, but I'll try something, you know, at least one time. So yeah, that's pretty much it though.
No, I feel you, because though I haven't done much as I used to do. Mm-hmm. Especially with the pandemic. We will get more about that later, but but I try just like you. I try to open up to do a lot more stuff now. Cause I feel like for the last couple of years I didn't do much. I want to change that as well. You know?
I feel like I'm in the redefining stage. Like you said, we'll talk about the pandemic, but pre-pandemic, I was always out. Like I was always doing something every other day of the week. Every weekend I was somewhere. Then the pandemic came, slowed a lot of things down. So now it's like the things that I used to have a liking for, I really don't anymore. So I'm just trying to find like, you know, my niche in like social events and stuff.
I feel you, because I was the same way. I used to do a lot, you know, with a club promoter at one point. Mm-hmm. Pandemic hit, I don't even care to do that no more. So it's like your mindset changed, you know, like at that time period. But we're gonna get more about that. We'll get to more about that. But let's talk about your life journey. Like, how were you growing up?
So this can go one of many ways, right? I like to describe myself as being, for starters, I was the only child for about 11 and a half years. So I was spoiled. I was a very outgoing kid. Like I was always outside playing, like, you know, like playing freeze tag and hide and go seek with the friends. I was always going skating. I went skating every Friday and Saturday.
Yeah, me too.
Like I just was like active, because like my mom and my grandmom, they're just like, oh, back in our day, like kids played outside. So I was always outside skating, riding my bike, having fun, you know, what children are supposed to do. Wasn't a big fan of school because I was bullied for a long time in school. Just bullied about numerous things. Either was people was bullying me because of my name, because people couldn't pronounce my name, or bullying me because people were trying to figure out my race. So it was like, oh, you're not black, you're white. You're not white, you're black, you know. So as a kid, it was kind of conflicting in that aspect in school. And on the flip side of like all that, unfortunately, like I experienced sexual trauma at a very young age during the midst of like all of this stuff. And prior to that, like I watched my mom go through like a domestic violence relationship. So I've seen trauma all my life, you know? So those fun aspects of like playing outside, going skating, you know, playing with my Barbie dolls with my friends and things, those filled me up a lot, you know? And on the flip side of that, it was like all the bad stuff. But overall, despite like all the trauma and stuff, I still describe my childhood as being, you know, decent, you know?
Yeah. Well, first thing first, I could relate about the being bullied. I spoke about it on my show many times. You know, I was bullied as well. Whether it's about my last name, whether it's about with the way I speak, because you know I do have speech problems and stuff like that. And it was a hard time as a kid, you know, deal with all that. But like you said, like you know, your child, like the stuff you did as a kid, bring you joy and stuff like that. And also, I heard your latest episode that you put out recently, the last episode you put out. And I had to say that was a really powerful episode. Like everybody really needs to listen to it. And I just want to say thank you for sharing your story, because I know that was a really hard thing to do, and I want to shout you out for that. Good.
Thank you.
Yeah, it was hard. And
thank you. Thanks for acknowledging me, my story. Thank you for even listening. You know, I saw that you listening. You always leave really positive messages, and it hits a little different when men take an interest in that. And you know, men say, oh, I stand with you on this, you know, I believe you, or whatever the case is, just in any positive aspect. Like that means a lot, you know, because for so long I didn't trust men. I'm gonna be honest. Like I really didn't trust men for a very long time. So now that I'm in a space where I have found my voice and I'm telling my story and I'm trying to help other people, you know, those little small gestures, they go a very long way.
And like I said, everybody needs to listen to the episode. Powerful episode. Check out Chronicles of Virgo. We're gonna talk more about that, of course. But with all that happened to you, how that made you the person that you are today? Like everything that happened to you.
For starters, it made me strong. You know, because you never know how much you can endure as a person until you endure things that you don't think that you'll ever see your way through or get through. You know. For a very long time, I didn't address what happened. I kind of just like brushed it down. Like, and I mentioned that I think on the episode where it's though like the one time when they sent me to therapy as a kid, I told the therapist like, oh, I just put all this stuff in the back of my mind. Don't think about it. And I did that for years, like up until my adulthood. And one thing about trauma is you never know when or how it's going to show back up in life. You know, so it's definitely helped me find the inner strength in myself. It's helped me move now more towards my purpose in continuing my own healing journey, but also to help and motivate other people to heal. Because, you know, when you go through things in life or you see other people go through things, it could be the worst thing ever. And you're like, man, there's no way possible I'm going to get through this. But it helps to see someone else that has conquered those same battles or similar. And you're like, you know what? There just may be some hope for me, you know? So now I'm in a position where I say, I want to be something for someone else that I did not have. And that's just a positive vessel and that resource, that little push. And if it will take me continuing to make myself uncomfortable sometimes and tell my story and speak on things, I'm going to do it because I know that it's bigger than me. And there's a reason that God gave me this assignment.
Yeah. And, you know, like I said, thank you for telling your story. And because you just never know who else is going to do it. So for you to tell your story and for people who want to tell their story after they hear your story, you're helping somebody else, so that's all that matters. And thank you for, like I said, once again, sharing your story.
Right.
All right. So before we talk about the podcast, you have a blog first with the same name, Chronicles of Virgo. So my question is, then, what made you want to start the blog, and how you came up with the name? Like, how you came up with the name?
So thank you for asking that, because a lot of times people don't ask that, or they don't even know about the blog, which I don't promote it as much, but thank you. So the blog I started the blog in 2019 after my last suicidal attempt. I was in therapy at the time, and my therapist was like, "You're a very good writer. You have a lot of good thoughts." And I journal, like I love to write. So she's like, "Maybe you should start a blog. Put this somewhere where it's going to have more meaning and more purpose. Because when you journal, you throw your journals away when you're done. I burn mine. You get rid of them. You feel me?"
Yeah.
So I started the blog on WordPress at the time, and I named it Chronicles of a Virgo because I'm a Virgo, and I'm like, this blog is going to be about different chronicles of my life, you know, the good, the bad, the ugly, the indifferent, whatever. And occasionally I would throw like some trending topics in there, but I didn't want it to take away the theme of it, what it was intended for. And what ended up happening was I started getting like all these people following me and, you know, reaching out for different stuff. And I'm like, okay, maybe this, you know, is a good thing. And I was really consistent up until COVID started. And then my grandmother passed away from COVID in 2020, and I lost whatever like strength and ambition I had to do anything. And from time to time, I was still, you know, right. And all with having this blog, I always had the thought of starting a podcast. Mentioned it to my friends, never knew like what to do, how to do it, where to start, who to, like nothing. And then last year, I was like on Clubhouse. You remember the Clubhouse app?
Yeah, I still got Clubhouse. Still on my phone. I never used it, but still on my phone.
Right. I was on there in a room one day, and this guy was like speaking about something, and he had Jay-Z Encore playing in the background. And I don't know, I can't remember specifically what I was going through at that moment, but that song, something about it. And I don't know why the thought podcast came up. And I literally went, logged in, like created a profile on Anchor, and I was like, okay, I did it. So now I just have to hit record. And ever since then, here I am now, a whole year later.
Yeah, there you go. Well, we answer the other questions, so that's good. Mm-hmm. So tell them more about Chronicles of the Virgo, the podcast, like what it's about and everything, and all that good stuff.
So, Chronicles of a Virgo podcast is an intended safe space for healing and just positive conversations. I wanted to take different experiences that I had been through in my life and just put them out there in a way to help other people. But then I realized that there's a thing called collaboration, you know, and I started networking with a lot of other podcasters, and like, my niche, I guess you could say, has always been mental health. So I started meeting like a lot of different therapists and life coaches and just tons of doctors and just people. And I was like, you know what, maybe I can make this more than about me, because people might get tired of hearing about me. You know, so I started to bring other people on to have other conversations about their experiences, things they've overcome, how they've changed how they were able to turn their pain into their purpose, and just continue to do that. And it has been the most phenomenal thing I could have ever thought to even do in my life, because I've not only met a lot of good people, but it's helped me heal in different areas that I didn't know I needed, you know, that adjustment in. So overall, the podcast is intended to just help and motivate people to just be better individuals, whether we're talking about relationships, dating, single life, or whether we're talking about mental health or just, you know, self-love. You can probably find something for everybody on there so far.
So I remember when I found out about the show, I saw you, I believe you added me on IG, and I was like in my head like, who is this? And I see the name like Chronicles of the Virgo, like that name sounds really catchy. So I decided to check out your show one day. I went on Good Pods, and I thought I listened to your show, and I listened to it, like, yo, this show is really good. I think I listened to like 2 episodes. I forgot what episode it was. And I'm like, yo, this show is really good. Mm-hmm. And I don't know, for some reason, I became a fan of it since I just started listening to it every week. And then, of course, you invited me on your show, mm-hmm. and we had an amazing episode about main character energy. And like I said, one of my favorite appearances I've been on so far. So once again, thank you for having me on your show. So it was really dope. Y'all gotta check it out.
Of course.
So my question to you is, what is your definition of main character energy?
Now he's flipping the script back on me.
I had to.
So my definition of main character energy is putting yourself first, putting yourself in front of any expectations, any outside validations, just always putting yourself first, going for the things that you want to strive for in life. I know, sometimes it's in our stories, our stories involve other people, and that's perfectly fine. I believe that each person that's in our life is there for a reason or a season. Sometimes people's seasons are extended. The people in my life have literally been there some close to 30 years, and I'm definitely grateful for that. But overall, it's main character energy is just about putting yourself first and knowing where you stand, knowing that you can sit at any table. You deserve to sit at any table. And if a person doesn't want to give you a seat at that table, go get your own table and chairs, and then you dictate who sits at your table. As long as you're the head of that ship, that's all that matters.
That's definitely a fact. You know, Craig, you mentioned seasons. I said something about season on my quote of the day earlier this week. Mm-hmm. So that's crazy. That's crazy. They mentioned that. Also, like you mentioned earlier, you mentioned mental health a lot on your podcast show. Mm-hmm. So my question to you is, why is mental health so important to talk about?
Well, we can go on for hours about this, right?
Yeah, we definitely could.
So think about it. Growing up in your household, did you ever talk about mental health?
We definitely did not talk about mental health growing up.
Right. And for me, we never did either. And I literally said this a couple months ago, I didn't know what self-love and none of that stuff was, right? And when it came to mental health, we didn't know what that stuff was. All I knew is I had to follow the rules in this household. What happens in this house stays in this house. If I tell a soul outside of this house, I got to reap the consequences of it, right? And I remember being a kid, because I was going through a lot of trauma and stuff. Sometimes I would be just very sad, even though I was always looked upon to be happy. I could be very sad. And my family, their main thing was, you have too much to be happy about. You have all the toys and people that love you in the world. You don't need it. You're not sad. So in my childhood mind, I'm like, you know what? You're right. There's nothing wrong with me. And as I got older in life, you go through a lot of human experiences, human emotions and stuff. I realized I was so discombobulated because, again, you still don't know what mental health is. You don't know what anxiety or depression is. None of these things were ever talked about. So I ended up going to school, and I really fell in love with studying psychology. And I probably have more psychology and sociology credits than anything. And I ended up getting 2 degrees, a bachelor's. My bachelor's is in criminal justice. My master's is in human services and criminal justice. And I was able to tie in so much sociology. At the time, I was working at a psych hospital. I was the lead staff on the child and adolescent unit. And I got to do a lot of different trainings and certifications and learn a lot about the mind and mental health, and talk to patients, whether they were children or adults, that was suffering internally because it wasn't accepted to feel anything other than what people perceived you're supposed to be. And at that time, I had still experiencing life as an adult, going through different things. I was still trying to hide everything that I was feeling, because I was so used to sheltering my feelings. And then at one point I was just no, we cannot continue to live in silence like this. We cannot continue to shun ourselves for how we truly feel or go through, but then continue to shun other people, because that's when you start seeing more of people committing suicide and people ending up in psychiatric hospitals, or people self-harming or using substance, whether it's alcohol or drugs, to help mask their feelings. That was me at one point as well. So when I created the podcast and stuff, honestly, I didn't know I was going to really focus that much on mental health. But because I've overcome my own mental health encounters, I was like, you know what? We're going to continue to push this conversation. I understand some people may not like it, and that's perfectly fine. Everything is not for everyone. But I want to be known to have that space that these conversations are appropriate here, and I will continue to have those hard discussions that people don't want to have.
Yeah. And I'm happy that you really do that on your show, because that's one of the parts that I really love about your show. So once again, thank you for sharing that, and thank you for your show in general, because it's an amazing show, and I'm proud to be on it. So so let my listeners know, where can they listen to your show?
Yep. So of course I'm on YouTube at Chronicles of a Virgo podcast, and I'm also on Good Pods, Amazon, Apple, Spotify, iHeart, anywhere you find your podcast, all major podcast platforms. So yeah, you can check me out on any of those.
Nice. So as a podcaster, what is your biggest challenge as a podcaster?
I think the last time I was ever asked this question, I said my biggest challenge as a podcaster had nothing to do with podcasting. It had everything to do with like personal life. Because, you know, when you get sick or you have family stuff that happen or whatever, it takes away from you having to pour more into your show. And I kind of still want to look at it like that. You know, I'm just, I don't know. Like, I haven't had many instances where I've had like problems, whether it was with booking shows with guests. That ain't me. If I ask people, you know, they like to come and talk. They want to come talk. I'm always asked to go on other shows. That doesn't necessarily mean that I'm going to do it. Just because, you know, you have the option to decide, depending on, of course, what the topic and, you know, conversation is about. And, you know, there have been some situations where I've had to, you know, part ways with people in the industry, I guess you can say. And it is what it is. I don't take anything personal, right? I feel like when you personalize everything, that just creates a more toxic environment. And we all out here getting it, and we all can eat, you know? I don't do the whole competition stuff. I hate that. Oh God. I and you know me, we talked about this, like I just can't do. If I feel any of that, like any of those vibes and stuff, like I know how to bow out gracefully. I don't do the whole the subtweeting, the subliminals, the dropping of all that. Like, listen, not over here. I'm just, if you would have caught me like a couple years ago, maybe, you know. But now no, because I feel like I'm in the public eye more than I've ever been, and I have gotten a lot of like emails and things for different media deals, affiliates. Like I am a affiliate for an organization here through my podcast, so I know my stuff runs, you know what I'm saying? You just never know. And I mean, to me, representation means a lot, you know, and I am the face of Chronicles of a Virgo. You know what I'm saying? So I don't really, or I haven't really had any, you know, serious challenges. Now, when it comes to like the editing and all that stuff, no, that's another story. You know, but yeah, otherwise main issues, I've been blessed to not have many.
Okay, dope, that is dope. So I know this wasn't on my original list, but I'm gonna ask you this. So if you could interview anybody, like have a dream guest, who would that guest be? Name 3 people.
Oh my gosh. Okay. Gosh, you got me, because I wasn't prepared. So like, does it matter like what field they're in?
It could be celebrity. It could be somebody, you know. It could be if they dead. If they die, so it could be somebody dead as well.
I am stressed out right now. Okay, all right. I'm gonna try to do this the best I can. All right. I would have Beyonce. Like, I know people probably like,
I would wait for that answer. I'll wait for that answer.
Of course, like, and it's not just the fact because, you know, we share the same birthday, we're both, you know, Virgos, but like, I feel like you said if I could have anybody and they already immediately agrees.
Yeah.
You can't find that many interviews of Beyonce. So I would be honored to sit down face to face through Zoom or whatever and have a conversation because she don't gotta worry about me asking stupid questions, asking about rumors. Like, I want to know the same way when I do regular guests.
Yep.
I want to know about all the nitty gritty stuff that it took to you to get to the top. We see where you're at, and then give us a little bit of the behind it, just a little bit, because you don't know nothing about Beyonce, right?
That's a fact. That's a fact.
Like, what do you eat for breakfast, lunch, and dinner? Like, do you drink coffee? Like, just so Beyonce would be definitely somebody on that list that I would have to have. Oh my God, it's only 3 is so many people.
I mean, you can name as many as you want, but we're gonna start with 3 for now.
Okay. Beyonce, Michelle Obama, like, even if her and Barack was to do like a tag team, like, I'd be okay with that. And I say Michelle Obama because it's just been times where I may have been going through something and I look up a video and she's just so in tune with herself. And like how she pours back into other people. She's so inspiring and she has a phenomenal story, So definitely Michelle Obama. Like, that will always be my first lady. Like, Barack will always be my president.
I agree.
And the last person, oh my goodness. I'm like rolling a freaking Rolodex in my brain right now of different people. I want to make this good. I don't want to make the people mad. So who, you said dead or alive, right?
It could be dead or alive, yeah.
Of course I would have Meg Thee Stallion, but because, like, if you know, I love me some Meg. But honestly, I would want to have DMX. I would want to have DMX because, like, go ahead.
I'm gonna say that's the choice. That would have been an interesting choice.
So, I would have to have DMX because I was younger growing up. Remembering my mom used to love DMX, listening to his music and stuff. And there may have been a few catchy songs as a kid, but as I got older, before he passed away, I learned more about like his story and stuff, and I really internalized some of his lyrics, and I feel it. Like, like one of my all-time favorite songs by him is "Lord, Give Me a Sign."
Mine too. That's mine too.
Like, I will sit and cry my eyes out and have that song on repeat because that I've been there, and I just would want to sit, and even if I ask the same questions that he's already been asked and talk about just his spirit, his vibe, and he's very inspirational. Even now, when you scrolling through social media and see old videos pop up, he was very wise and very ahead of his time. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So like him and Nipsey Hussle.
Definitely, yes.
So definitely. So Beyonce, Michelle Obama, and DMX. That's an odd 3, but you only gave me 3. So
those are good 3. Those are good 3. And I'm not gonna lie, literally a lot of people who came on my show said the Obamas. Period. There's some reason everybody keeps saying the Obamas, and I mean I said it too. That's my I would do the same thing for the Obamas, but yeah, everybody said Obamas were like one of the biggest choices since I've been asking that question.
Yes.
Yeah. So now this question. So as you know, we are in the pandemic. I guess we're still in the pandemic. I guess things got better. Yeah. Mm-hmm. So my question to you is, as a whole, how had the pandemic affect you as a whole, and what have it taught you?
The pandemic affected me horribly. Okay, horribly. Because I lost my grandmother during the pandemic.
Yeah.
And if anybody could recall, when tons of people were passing away, unfortunately, from COVID during the pandemic. And can you imagine trying to plan a funeral during the pandemic?
Yeah.
We had, I think it was like 10 or 11 of us at that time was allowed, and my grandmother was actually cremated. So the ceremony looked very different. But I'm just like 10 or 11 people for, like, my grandmother was my everything. Like, she's like how they look at the Queen Elizabeth, like that's how my grandmother was, you know what I'm saying? And she just deserves so much more. So that shook my world in ways that I was just like, oh, how am I going to like get through this? Because it's like all I could think about was when it's over, like COVID is over, she's not going to be here anymore.
Yeah.
You know, we didn't get to like physically be there and say goodbye. We didn't get to have that last interaction, the last hug, the last kiss, the last words, you know. Up until her passing, we just got to do things on Zoom.
Yeah.
And to just see somebody go from being so, like, being appearing to be happy, and then days their health is just trickling because of COVID, like, you know, and that kind of like iced it. As far as like being in the house working, I was working from home before COVID, you know, a couple of days a week, and COVID just made it permanent, you know.
Yeah.
And it limited me from doing a lot of things. I couldn't see my friends. You know, people interaction is so important. Like, whether you think it is or not, it's so important. And I would still see my family on weekends and stuff. And we all were like safe. We wore a mask and different things like that. My friends, I couldn't really see them because a lot of them worked in like healthcare hospitals. And I'm like, like, we have to FaceTime it, you know, do whatever. And I honestly feel like I kind of did myself a little disservice during COVID, because that's when a lot of people launched so many businesses. Some people I know launched their podcasts and stuff. My disservice was I didn't find something else to, you know, dibble into. But I was like really at the bulk of my depression around that time as well, you know. And it just, even just thinking about it now, like, you know, when I look at like old memories on social media, and I'm just like, you know, I remember driving on the Beltway and it's like no cars. You know what I'm saying? Or like being afraid that, oh, I might just die. Like, you just, because it was just so much misinformation and stuff going out. And it was just a horrible time. Like, I'm pretty sure I'm not the only one that felt that.
Oh boy.
And where you're at, I would like, when I would see the news, because I was glued to the TV. I was glued to the news. But when I would see like New York, and it was like, I've never seen, New York just looked so secluded, so empty. The hospitals were just like overflow. It was just a lot.
Yeah. It was a terrible time. Like, it was a terrible time. But I mean, I guess I'm happy that thing got somewhat better. But it was a terrible time, and hopefully we don't have to relive. We don't have to relive that again. Because, gee Louise.
Now let me ask you a question. So like, so for the most part, we have come out of the pandemic, you know.
Yeah.
Do you feel like trying to adapt back into like regular life was hard? Like, do you have like anxiety going out into stores and stuff now?
I did. I was diagnosed with anxiety during the pandemic. So I started getting panic attacks and a lot of things because everything that was going on. I was scared if something happened to me or something happened to family or friends I know, stuff like that. So it was a lot. And honestly, I think I developed a phobia of not going out for a very long time. So so I think people didn't understand that. I never really told nobody that. People that thought I didn't want to go out just to go out, but I've developed a phobia of not going out for a very long time, to the point that I started going to a therapist and stuff like that. And she helped me with that and everything else, and the podcast even more and stuff like that. So yeah, it was a lot. But I think now I'm more slowly back to where I'm back now. But yeah, it was a hard time. It was hard to adapt at one point, but
the phobia is a real thing, because like I was working and talking to my therapist about it as well, and she was helping me. And don't get me wrong, like I would go out to run errands and stuff, but I'm like going right back in the house. Like I couldn't
exactly,
you know, get myself to do the extracurricular things because it took so much, you know. So now like I've I've gotten 10 times better, you know, and
me too.
and I felt like everybody was like rushing, you know, you on the store, people are like running crazy, and it just, you know, spikes anxiety. And like one day I was in a grocery market with my aunt, and my aunt is one of them people like that walks super fast, and I'm like, okay, we need to stick together. The market is crowded. Don't leave me, you know, even though we got cell phones, she don't be answering her phone. And it was like one time I had turned around, she was gone. Like, and I had like a mild panic attack in my mind because I didn't see her. And she came back, and I was just like, you can't leave like that, you know? So it was definitely a difficult time. But like even now, I'm just continuing to try to get back into regular civilian life, I guess you could say. I take my time, and it always helps to have like understanding and patient people around you, because my friends, they don't be like, girl, you know, you need to go out. No, they be like, we understand, you know.
It was a time where I had to be around somebody. I could never be by myself, but I'm happy that I could be by myself now, going out alone now and stuff like that. It was a really hard time. It was a really hard time, but I'm happy that we both got over our. We just take things one day at a time. That's what that is.
Most definitely.
But let's get back to brighter notes, because that was a lie. So what is your dream venture? Something that you always want to do?
I want to go to Sedona, Arizona, and like embark on one of these like wellness retreats. And I know that may sound so cheesy, but like if you don't know what Sedona, Arizona looks like, go Google it right now and look up their retreats. I mean, I've never been to like like that type of retreat before, and they do a lot. So like they may rock climb, they do like different massages, just different therapeutic things. They do a lot of therapeutic things in like the water. And I'm not a height person. Like I don't like roller coasters and nothing like that, but I would jump off, like, what's it, bungee jump? Like I would go there. Maybe I might do it there, you know. But yeah, I wanna go to Sedona, Arizona, and do one of these lavish retreats.
I'm not gonna lie, that does sound dope. That really do sound dope.
I'm telling you, look it up. It's like the most, at least from just looking online, it was like the most beautiful place ever. And it's like known for like, you know, self-healing and stuff like that. Like, I'm cheesy, I know. Of course I want to travel the world. I want to go to France and Spain and like all these different, you know, Jamaica. I've never been out the country before, so
me either.
Okay, so I'm not by myself, because people be like, what?
You die.
Yeah, so of course I want to travel and do all of those lovely things, but I'm saying like the Sedona retreats, look like they be on and popping, you know.
You gotta send me the info, and I'll look it up.
Yes.
And so, what other project that you got going on? Like something that you have not mentioned yet?
Something I haven't mentioned yet is I am in talks with a publisher on writing a book. And it's funny because I've always talked about writing a book, but I was like, whatever. It's something I want to do. I don't know when it will happen. But yeah, so someone had reached out, a legitimate person, because you know you gotta be careful out here in these streets. Yeah. A legitimate person reached out to me about me publishing a book, turning my story into a book. And I was like, that's what I want to do. So that is the main thing. And I am like, you know, thinking about embarking on this whole life coaching journey. But this is the thing. Like, I know a lot of people say, oh, it's a lot of life coaches, it's a lot of, you know, whatever. That's why I needed mine to be like very intentional and very like specific. So I prayed about it, and like daily I'm like giving certain signs about things. Like, I don't want to just be like life coach Chiquita Johnson, you know. So we'll see what happens with that. And otherwise, you know, just continuing my podcasting journey. Like I said, I had been in talks with some media companies and stuff like that. So I don't know, y'all. We'll see.
And you already know what we're about to do. I'm looking forward to it. I know you're gonna do amazing things. So I'm looking forward to everything you're about to do.
Thank you.
So What do you have to say for anybody that's going to say about you? Say like the podcast, everything that's going on in your life, like everything. Say something inspirational.
Something inspirational, Lord. So you just want me to give just a positive message to somebody?
Basically, yeah, basically.
All right, you want me to be you on Monday nights?
Yup.
All right, so something that I could say to somebody that may need some type of positive message is my favorite line is keep going. And the reason why I always go back to that is because in the midst of you trying to, embark on a journey or do anything, a lot of times it seems like it's hard. We get detoured from what our destination is. But if you stop and if you give up, you're never going to know what's on the other side of you stopping.
Yep.
And even if you get turned around, that's okay. Detours aren't bad. You have to use these things for your advantage. Okay. And I have learned that. I'm still learning that. Sometimes you may get told no a million times, but guess what? That one yes could be what takes you to the top. And that's really all that matters. Find the validation. Hear me and hear me loud and clear. Okay. Especially for like podcasters that's listening and stuff. Find that validation that you are seeking from other people within yourself. Because it all starts with you. You know what I'm saying? Like, and yeah.
That's a MrGentleman fact quote today. That was dope. That was dope.
But like, think about it. Like, you are a podcaster. You know how I feel about you. What you be doing out here in these streets, and you be turned up, right? You got.
I try about that.
You got a lot going on. But like, how many times have you doubted yourself and you didn't trust your own validation? You seeked it outside, right? And you may have gotten it, but it feels so much more when it comes from within, because it means more, because you know what your true intentions are. Your true intentions, someone else may not see that, and that's okay, because you may not be for everybody, and that may be a good thing. But as long as you have that inner peace, that inner wisdom, like, you don't need anything else. Everything else will follow behind that.
No, that's a fact. I needed that. So thank you for that message. I really needed that. Miss Chiquita, before you go, we're going to do a segment game called 5 Random Topics. we're actually 5 random topics, and you just answer it. I know you don't know what this is. You don't know what I'm going to ask, but are you ready?
Let's go.
No, don't worry, they're not hard questions. So the first question, I asked you this recently when you heard my movie episode, but what is your favorite movie?
Hold on. Before I answer that, I was talking to my friend the other night, and we was talking about your episode because I shared it with her or whatever. Oh, and yes, we were talking about the movies that y'all did not. I know you said it was a part 2 probably coming, but we were just shocked by some of the movies that y'all did not mention. I was like, I told you I'd tell you after the second episode come out to see if you mention them then. But I was like writing movies down, like, wait a second, hold on, I need to go back. But my favorite movie of all time, and you did not mention this one, and your guest didn't either, Jalen, right? Was that your guess? Yeah. Y'all didn't mention this, but my favorite movie of all time is Love and Basketball.
I don't know why. I had a feeling your favorite movie. I don't know why.
Love and Basketball, like, I wanted to be Monica. Like, when I tell you that movie messed my head up in so many ways, but not in bad ways, but I really did want to be Monica. And I was like, you know what? I'm going to have my high school sweetheart is going to be an athlete. My high school sweetheart was an athlete. He played basketball and football, but by the time we came to college, we both parted ways. We didn't go to the same school. Whatever. I still played ball. But that movie still has me in a chokehold to this day.
I'm not gonna lie, a lot of people favorite movie. I mean, I like it. It's not my favorite movie. I watch it all the time. But I do like the movie. I do like it.
Yeah, my other favorite movie is more of a series, and I promise you, like, people think I'm so crazy about it, but I am obsessed. And don't nobody out there judge me. Please don't judge me. Like I'm obsessed with like the Scream series. Like maybe 1 through 3. 4 wasn't that good. 5, I still haven't seen the new one. But like,
I saw 5.
Like Scream, I could watch. Yeah, I like Scream. I don't know why.
I haven't watched Scream in a long time. Like the original 3, I didn't watch that. I didn't watch it in a long time. I had to watch it again. It was a long time. I do remember 3 though. I did like the 3. I do remember 3. I did like the 3. But yeah, this next one might be funny. What is your favorite song by Beyonce?
Break My Soul, Halo, and I'm going to say, wait, I don't think that's her song. I think that's Drake. Yeah.
Wait, to my mind?
Yeah, like I love that song.
Oh, that's her.
Yeah, that's one of my favorite songs. But then otherwise, I was thinking about, damn, it slipped. Like I'm 7-Eleven.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, but because then I was like, oh, does this mean Beyonce and the Destiny's Child era? Because I can go there. Like, give me the whole Writings on the Wall, like Bad Habit, that whole album. But yes, I'll take those 3 songs. So Halo, 7-Eleven, and Mine.
You know what? I'm gonna answer this question too.
Yes.
Because me and Beyonce, we got a love-hate relationship. but I do like Beyonce. I ain't gonna lie. I do got a love-hate relationship. So if I had to pick my 5 Beyonce songs, I'm gonna say Irreplaceable. I agree. Yeah, I like Irreplaceable. I agree with you. Mine. I do like Mine. I actually do like Mine. Yeah, you're right. This is kind of hard. Ego. I like Ego.
Oh yeah, I like. It wasn't one of my top, but like, yeah, I like Ego.
Yeah. You know what? For a Renaissance, I'm gonna say Cuff It. I like Cuff It from a Renaissance. And if I have to pick one,
of course, I like Virgo's Groove. Like that. what? But off that album, like, I mean, you have to love the whole album. Like you just maybe a couple of the songs. I was just like, okay, but like the top ones. Yeah, like Virgo's Groove, Cuff It, Break My Soul. Like I can listen to them all. Like that album, I got back my Apple statistics from 2022. Like how Spotify did the thing.
End of the year, yeah.
My statistics for that album alone was horrible.
Wow.
I didn't even realize that, and just think it just had came out in the summer. So from the summer to like December, I was on repeat like all the time. It was crazy. But yeah, I love me some Beyonce. I'm actually going to go see her in August.
I know you just spoke about it.
Yes, I will be in Vegas seeing my good sis B.
I ain't gonna hold that dope. That's dope. But hold on, before I continue. Were the tickets a lot? Were the tickets a lot?
It depends on what you classify as a lot, because I think what the problem was is a lot of people were seeing the price that people were posting online, and they were just like, oh my god, this is rent money, this is like mortgage and stuff. Yeah, when you go get them like exclusive packages and things like that, and I'm not gonna lie, me and my friend, like, we got waitlisted for each state that we chose, but one of my best friends, she's good at finding like tickets, hotels, like planning trips, like all that stuff. And the day that she had went in, the tickets for the day that we got in Vegas, there were a lot available, and she just went on and bought them. And I was like, well, wait, don't buy them yet. You know what I'm saying? How much is they? You know what I'm saying? Because if they're a lot, because all I can like remember was what I saw online, and I was like, okay, I don't even care, let's do it. So they were not a lot to me, you know what I'm saying? Because I'm not irresponsible. I'm not going to go on a trip or like do things that I don't technically have the money.
Yeah.
But I will tell you this: it is the most expensive ticket I have ever bought before. Any music festival, and I've been to Made in America, I've been to the Broccoli Fest, and this one ticket was more, but I have good seats too.
Okay,
I'm like not one of so it's in a stadium in Vegas, so I'm in a section one something.
That's good. That sounds good. Wow, that sounds really close.
Mm-hmm.
All right, next one. That question is, what is your go-to food?
It would be between pizza and Chick-fil-A.
Nah, I know. Yeah, both of them. Yeah, both of those. I don't mind this Thai food. Thai food is mine.
I've never had Thai before.
Oh, you gotta try it. It's really good. You gotta try it.
Yeah, it'd be between pizza and Chick-fil-A. Like, I saw that slice of pizza you put up last night, and I'm like, I was like, it's just something. I've had New York pizza before, so I'm like, man, that looks so good. But yes, I will choose Chick-fil-A. I'm not a big foodie. Like, I'm not. Like, people go to, like, different restaurants and stuff. I'm so simple. But if I had to choose, it would definitely be Chick-fil-A.
Nice. I mean, I am a foodie, but I ain't gonna lie. But okay, we definitely did spoke about this next question. What is a movie that y'all looking forward to see?
I can't even remember the name of it. Well, one of them is already out.
The 1,000 something.
Don't get me lying. But I do want to see that a lot. Even though it's out, I don't never go to movies when they first come out. I give it like a week or two. I saw some of her tour like that she's done. I listened to her Breakfast Club interview, and I think she had to like go to therapy while on set recording for that movie. It was something like certain roles they require, different stuff. So that in Air, like we talked about that, like the lineup is like, what? How'd y'all get?
That lineup is interesting. I ain't gonna lie, that lineup is interesting. I definitely do want to see that. I ain't gonna lie.
Like, they don't brought Chris Tucker out.
Yeah, Chris Tucker the movie. He barely come. He barely come out. So yeah. And last question is, instead of Beyonce, since you're already going to a concert, what is somebody that you want to see in concert? Since you already see Beyonce, but what is another person you want to see in concert?
Meg Thee Stallion. I didn't look. You see how that just rolled? I didn't even have to like think about it because like I love me some Meg, and don't get it twisted. I'm not one of them crazy fans of any of these celebrities. How you see people online doing crazy stuff. Like that ain't me. You would never find me in no fan clubs, no groups, under nobody's posting. Well, I was under a couple of Meg posts when she had the trial stuff going on, but like otherwise, like I would love to see Meg. She was here last summer for the Preakness. Couldn't go because I had COVID. Because I was at a festival like the week before and caught COVID at that festival, music festival. But yeah, definitely Meg.
Yeah, that is dope. Well, Miss Chiquita, thank you for coming on the show. This was a really, really dope conversation. And I'm glad that I finally have you on the show. Mm-hmm. The podcast you're killing it on the podcast. Continue to do an amazing thing. And thank you for sharing your story, because I know that was really hard. And thank you for sharing your story. Keep helping people and continue to do an amazing thing. I'm rooting for you.
Thank you. Thanks for the invite. You can always come back to mine whenever. It was such an honor to, have another dialogue with you. We always have, good conversation and just good energy. So I appreciate you for holding this positive space, and also keep up the good work. You know what I'm saying? Like, you're doing great things on your platform, on social media. You're continuing to pour into me and tons of other amazing podcasters, and I'm pretty sure, I don't want to speak for everyone, but I'm pretty sure they appreciate the support that you give them, and like I said before, that goes a long way,
Yes.
So definitely keep it up.
Yeah, thank you for that. That really means a lot. So before you go, drop your social media where everybody can reach you, and drop your social media, podcast or everything. This is your time.
Yep. So again, I am Chiquita. I am the host of the Chronicles of a Virgo podcast, and you can find my podcast on all major podcast platforms: Apple, Spotify, iHeart, Good Pods. Just any audio platform. I'm also on YouTube under Chronicles of a Virgo podcast. And as far as social media, I am on Facebook, TikTok, and Instagram under Chronicles of a Virgo podcast as well. And I am also on Twitter, okay, under the same thing. However, Twitter is my real space. That's my real page. So if you do follow me, welcome. Just tread lightly, because I will block you. Ken knows that. But but yes, no, on some real, please come tap in with me, check out the podcast, let me know how I'm doing. I'm always down. Ken knows, he'll tell you I'm always open to have a conversation. My DMs and email and stuff is definitely always open. So yep, tap in with me.
Yeah, they also check out my episode on the Chronicle of Virgo. Main character energy is a really dope interview. Yeah, check it out, y'all, and we'll be right back. Hello, everybody. This is your boy Ken, aka MrGentleman. Now, I am the host of MrGentleman Lifestyle Podcast, and this commercial break is brought to you by MrGentleman Lifestyle Podcast presents Spin-off Series Thursdays. And Spin-off Series Thursday is the new home for MrGentleman Lifestyle Podcast Spin-off Series. That brought to you shows like A Conversation About Music Podcast, The Old School Show, and Date Night Talk Podcast. And A Conversation About Music Podcast is a music spin-off series where we talk about anything music, from the current music scene and the old school music scene, where we interview many guests that's in the music industry and artists about their music journey. We have a segment game called The Face Off, which is a versus inspired game. And we have roundtable discussion about variety of music topics. And y'all can check out A Conversation About Music Podcast every first Thursday at 12 a.m. Every first Thursday at 12 a.m. Now, the Old School Show that featured myself and the star Roddy Rod is a show where we discuss anything old school, from music, TV shows, movies, and many more. We also bring in guests to join in on the old school conversation. Y'all can check out the Old School Show with myself and the star Roddy Rod every fourth Thursday at 12 a.m. Every fourth Thursday at 12 a.m. And last but not least, we have Date Night Talk Podcast with myself and Miss Vanna B, where we talk about anything relationship related topics like love, dating, relationships, cheating, the good and the bad, and many more. And y'all can check out this spin-off series, Date Night Talk Podcast, every second and third Thursday at 12 p.m. So look out for MrGentleman Lifestyle Podcast presents Spin-off Series Thursday, A Conversation About Music Podcast every first Thursday. The Old School Show with myself and the star Roddy Rod every fourth Thursdays, and Date Night Talk Podcast with myself and Miss Vanna B every second and third Thursdays. And y'all can check out MrGentleman Lifestyle Podcast every Sundays for the main series and every Thursday for spin-off series Thursdays. And thank y'all for checking out this commercial break. And now back to your regularly scheduled program. True! I just want to take the time to thank everybody for tuning in to this latest episode of MrGentleman Lifestyle Podcast. Thank you to my special guest, Miss Chiquita Johnson, for coming on the show. I just want to say thank you for sharing your story. It really means a lot that you decided to share it on my show and share it to my listeners, because you just never know what anybody is going through. So for that, I thank you, and just continue to be an amazing individual. Continue to stay strong and continue to put out dope content, because your show is amazing. I feel like Chronicles of a Virgo deserve more credit. So I want everybody to take the time and subscribe to a show, Chronicles of a Virgo podcast. Really amazing show. And everybody check it out. Also, check out the one episode that I was on for her show, Main Character Energy. We have a really dope conversation. And yeah, check it out, y'all. And thank you once again, Mrs. Chiquita Johnson, for coming on the show. Y'all already know I'm at every Sundays and Thursdays at 12 a.m. MrGentleman Lifestyle Podcast. We're on Anchor, Spotify, Apple Podcasts, iHeartRadio, Amazon Music, and Pods, and many more. Y'all can rate the show 5-star rating on Spotify, Apple Podcasts, Good Pods, and Podchasers. The more you rate the show, the more people know about MrGentleman Lifestyle Podcast. Every Sundays, the main series of MrGentleman Lifestyle Podcast, the current season 6, every Sundays, and every Thursday, spin-off series Thursday starting in May. And the first show that will premiere for spin-off series Thursday will be the Old School Show with myself and the star Riding Rod. Season 3 premiere May 25th at 12 a.m. May 25th at 12 a.m. every fourth Thursdays at 12 a.m. A Conversation About Music podcast. Season 2 premiere June 1st at 12 a.m. June 1st at 12 a.m. every first Thursdays at 12 a.m. And Date Night Talk podcast with myself and Miss Vanna B. Season 2 premiere June 8th at 12 a.m. June 8th at 12 a.m. and every second and third Thursdays at 12 a.m. So check out Spin-Off Series Thursdays every Thursday at 12 a.m. starting in May on MrGentleman Lifestyle Podcast. And if you want to be a guest on my show, because I am looking for guests for season 7, because season 6 is all booked up, and I am looking for guests for season 7, email me a bio about yourself and everything that you do to my email, Ken, YPGENT@gmail.com, Ken, YPGENT@gmail.com, or hit me up on social media, Ken_MrGentleman. I repeat, Ken, KEN _Mr. MR Gentleman, GENTLEMAN. Y'all can hit me up on all social media platforms, IG, Twitter, TikTok, and many more. Also, check me out on the Premier Boy podcast with myself, Aaron Keetoxian, the Star Riding Rod, Long Live the Chief, Molly Mal. New episodes of the Premier Boy podcast every Wednesdays at 12 a.m. Every Wednesdays at 12 a.m. New episodes of the Premier Boys podcast. Y'all can also check out shows that I am executive producer of, King Talk with Aaron Sands, hosted by Aaron King Talk Sands, every Friday at 12 a.m. Every Friday at 12 a.m. Check out King Talk with Aaron Sands. Also check out Star Time Podcast, hosted by the Star Riding Rod. New episodes every other Mondays at 12 a.m. Every other Mondays at 12 a.m. Star Time Podcast, hosted by the Star Riding Rod. I am executive producer of both those shows, so check those shows out. Also look out for my brother's show, Long Live the Chief, Mighty Mal, the Bridge Podcast, coming real soon. And at this time, it's time for everybody's favorite end of the episode segment, MrGentleman Lifestyle Shoutouts. And I will be giving 5 shoutouts to Podcast Show, and we're gonna give them their flowers. Last week we did this segment. We shout out Conversation with Kinfo podcast, The Zaya Show, What is TWS, Walk With Me, and Beer in Front. Check out the 5 shows for last week's episode. And at this time, I'm going to give you 5 new shows for y'all to check out. And the first show that I'm going to talk about is Bold Talk by Joe. Now, I discovered this show through the Things About Us pocket, and they recommended this for me to check out this show. And this show had federal topics. They do have guests on the show, and this is a really dope show. Check out Bold Talk by Joe. Really dope show. Shout out to him. Next show I'm gonna shout out is Opinionated Lashes. Sonia, Dawn, and Jessica. The show is really dope. I discovered the show like a while ago, and this show with the topic they've been putting on been really dope. They will be on my show later this season on the second half of season 6. So I'm looking forward to having a conversation with the woman. Shout out to Opinionated Lashes. Really dope show. Check it out. Next show that I discovered recently is a brand new show that I got on the list called Sorta Kinda Bessie. 2 women talk about a variety topic on their generation standpoint. And so this is a really dope show. Check them out right now as well. Sorta Kinda Bessies. Check them out. Next show that I'm going to talk about is Just Get Hired. And this show basically about, tips about jobs and other job-related topics. This is a really dope show. If you need topics about, tips about your job, Just Get Hired is a good show for that. Shout out to her. Amazing show. Check it out. And the last show that I will be mentioning, and I was just on this show recently, The Vandalonians. Teachers by day, nerds by night. This is a really dope show. They talk about many things in the culture, basically about, from Star Wars, from TV show, from movie, wrestling. Because I was just on a WrestleMania episode. It was a really fun show. Shout out to Mr. Richardson, Mr. G, and Mr. McDonald. Even though he wasn't on the episode that I was on, shout out to him as well. Really dope shows. The Vandalonians, Teachers by Day, Nerds by Night. They will also be on my show later this season as well. So check them out. I can't wait to have a conversation with them as well. And check out the 5 shows that I just mentioned. Bold Talk by Joe, Opinionated Lashes, Just Get Hired, Sorta Kinda Bessie, and The Vandalonians. 5 those amazing shows. And this is the best for this week. MrGentleman Lifestyle Shoutouts. And of course, I'll do 5 more shoutouts on the next episode of MrGentleman Lifestyle Podcast. Also, add me on Good Pods, Ken, MrGentleman. Y'all already know Good Podcast to many independent podcasters. You can see what everybody listening to. We can rate each other's shows. We should support many indie podcasters in this Good Pod community. And of course, we have the charts. So at the time, I will be doing my chart review. And the chart I will be doing is the Good Pod charts. And for top 100 shows, due to this recording, MrGentleman Lifestyle Podcast is number 3 on the top 100 shows for normal and indie charts. For society and culture, we are number 1 for 4 days on society and culture. So thank you everybody that continue to listen to MrGentleman Lifestyle Podcast on Good Pod. Really means a lot. Let's get back to number 1 on the top 100 show charts. And for top 100 episodes, we got 2 episodes on the top 100 episode chart. First, we got episode 114, the episode with Jalen on the show. And for the normal chart, that is 83. And for the indie, that is 88. So shout out to everybody that's through tuning into this episode. Really means a lot. And also, we got the big WrestleMania episode on the charts as well. Aaron King Talk Sands, Long Live the Chief Matty Bound, and from Let's Talk About It with Ange, and 21 Cal, the Sauce King, who is also co-host alongside Matty Mal on the Bridge podcast. We are number 3 for the number chart and number 6 for the indie chart. So I just want to say thank y'all for tuning in to both the episodes. I know they both are long episodes, so for those people that really listen, and took the time to listen to the whole episode. Even those who just rated the episode, I appreciate each and every one of y'all. And just continue to help with the Gentleman Lifestyle Podcast grow. It really means a lot. Also, I want to shout out Apple Podcast. We were also on the Apple Podcast charts. We were number 136 for society and culture in India. So, shout out to Apple Podcast, and thank you for having us on Apple Podcast charts as well. Also want to take the time and shout out whoever rated Mr. Gentleman Lifestyle Podcast on Spotify. It really means a lot. I got 10 ratings now on Spotify. So because last week I had 0 people rating my show on Spotify. So for me to see 10, it really means a lot. And thank you everybody that took the time to rate it on Spotify and everything, y'all. So I just want to take time and thank you everybody for just listening to Mr. Gentleman Like the Podcast. I continue to grow the show. As long as y'all, having a good time listening to the show, inspired, and listening and got a message from it, all that matters to me, of course. So thank you. And of course, charts and stuff is fun, but that's not why I do the show. I do the show because to have my friends come on the show and they have a platform for them to voice their stories. Because a lot of my people who I actually know who came on my show, then I got that opportunity, So I wanted to give the opportunity platform for people to join in and have a voice. Also for other podcasters who want to show the world what they're going through and stuff like that. This show is a safe place for conversations, no judgment at all. So I was going to say thank you everybody that took the time to listen, rated, got me on the charts, shared, supported, share with your friend and everything, man. It really means a lot. So once again, I thank y'all from the bottom of my heart, y'all, for real. Every guest, I thank y'all, man. Also, the website, the official website for Mr. Gentleman Like the Podcast, www.realmrgentlemanlikethepodcast.com, www.realmrgentlemanlikethepodcast.com. Y'all can listen to every episode of Mr. Gentleman Like the Podcast. Y'all can watch every video from Mr. Gentleman Like the Podcast, from the episode, the quotes of the day, and many more. Y'all can check out every guest profile from Mr. Gentleman Like the Podcast. Everybody that's been on my show so far, we had now 58 guests that came on Mr. Gentleman Like the Podcast. Wow, this is really big, y'all. 58 guests, so check them all out. Check out their profile, man. So y'all can know more about my guests that came on the show. Y'all can check out every guest appearance that I've been on. Y'all can check out the latest interview that I've been on from the Chronicles of the Virgo, the Mad Debaters, and the Fan Lonely episode. All of them is up there right now, so check it out. Y'all can buy merch that we have partnership with TeePublic. Y'all can buy shirts, hoodies, mugs, pillows, art, and many more. If you want to support Mr. Gentleman Like the Podcast, buy some merch, because we need more merch to be sold, so buy some merch. Also buy me coffee. You can also buy coffee through the website as well. And anything to support Mr. Gentleman Like the Podcast, it would mean a lot. So once again, check out the official website for Mr. Gentleman Lifestyle Podcast, www.realmrgentlemanlikethepodcast.com. And once again, thank you everybody that tuned in to this latest episode of Mr. Gentleman Lifestyle Podcast. Next week's episode, we got the host from 12-3 Talk back on the show, and that's going to be a really powerful episode as well. And once again, thank y'all. Have a good day or night, wherever you're listening to this episode.
Hi, this is Amanda from Dating Will Be the Death of Me, and you are listening to Mr. Gentleman Lifestyle Podcast.